Hello, I'm Emmanuel Bach. I'm back with the 2-minute masterclass, and today it's Bruch Scottish Fantasy, first movement. This very special work, as the title makes clear, is a Scottish fantasy, and therefore it's different from a concerto. Indeed, it has 4 movements rather than the more conventional 3, and it has this strong Scottish element which works on a number of levels. And the first level, actually, we can learn from a comment attributed to Bruch, in which he purportedly said that the opening is meant to suggest an old bard contemplating a ruined castle, lamenting the glorious times of old. We can definitely hear something which is very solemn and really sad, and almost actually really with a sense of grief. The tonality of E-flat minor rather than E-flat major, which usually has a sense of optimism, space, and often a heroic quality, is very much a dark and somber one. And actually the beginning is really a funeral march before the solo violin comes in, that is. The first violin entry is vital. We have to ensure our sound speaks right from the very start, from the very first note, in the character that the music's in. And it's not enough to try to convey that character. We have to really be the emotion of the music. We have to paint a picture and tell a story. And we can only do that, really, through our sound. That first note has a quality where it opens up, and as the music is marked quasi-recitativo, there is a suggestion that we're actually speaking as well as singing, and the recitativo element suggests a certain element of freedom. I think the most important element is that we're telling a story, and in this case it's something very reflective rather than thinking forward. And we need to think really about the dynamics that are marked. One can never be too good simply to ignore any dynamic markings, and they really are vital for communicating the meaning of the music. This first 5th interval has the quality of a sigh. It gives the sense of loss, a loss of the past, which the speaker or the person in question is trying to recapture and recall. And then this espressivo marking here allows us, I think encourages us to bring out the different intervals that we've had here. It's very firmly E-flat minor in terms of the melodic content of the music, and that slide brings added meaning to the music. Later, we see passion emerging, and as this first movement is in 2 clear main sections, the introduction and then the ensuing Adagio cantabile, we need to ensure that we have 2 distinct sound profiles and 2 separate concepts of the emotions that are involved. Here, we need to think of a passion beginning to emerge from within. And then the passion wells out into the open. Importantly, we're also in a dialogue with the orchestra, so we really need to ensure that we interweave very strongly. Elsewhere, we need to pay attention to some other markings. There are accents, notably here, and also here. And those accents are emotional suggestions. It adds increased and heightened emotion to the music. It's not just an articulation, so we need to respond by communicating through our bow, leaning and also using the bow's speed and also using the vibrato. We really need to be the master of bow control and vibrato in this sort of music in order to convey the very varied emotions that come across and often quite rapid changes of emotion. It's only towards the very end of this first section that we really feel a sense of resignation to the impossibility to recall the past and the glory that we hope to feel, and that's here. And then something magical happens. We move to E flat major, and this wonderful scenery is evoked. To me, it's the rolling Scottish hills, and then we actually enter into the past, or perhaps it's the present, a gloriful present and wondrous present. And here we need to feel warmth, the warmth of the sun, of a great fire in a castle, the outdoors, and our sound needs to be very, very generous with warm, open, flowing bows. And here is another Scottish element. Bruch uses the tune Through the Wood Laddie very strongly. Some people suggest that there's another tune, which is Old Rob Morris. The connection is very, very subtle, if that is the case. But the main tune, which you've just heard, is Through the Wood Laddie. And it's a traditional Scottish tune, so we need to feel that we're really singing a tune that we know very well. Very important. Of course, there are technical aspects to bear in mind, and one of them is the double stopping. We need to ensure that the intonation is very pure to convey the purity of character that is present in this music. It's very noble music, and another Scottish element is in the harp accompaniment, which gives this very strong Celtic flavour to the music. One final point is a more technical one, and that's about these octaves here. In order to really achieve those octaves effectively and speak with the noble character, we not only need to achieve this intonation, but also purity of sound. And of course, that sound does also come from the intonation. A good way to work it is to work slowly and really feeling the interval and distance that the left hand and sometimes arm needs to move between each octave. That will really preserve this nobility of tone and nobility of character which this music, and certainly this part of the movement, really demands. That's all for today.